Greetings, Merriam. I'll start these videos as I often do with a few of our lovely flags. Billy Crone here at the Planning Commission. We got 2 minutes to go, and so we're going to walk inside and see what Merriam is planning. This beautiful September, I think it's the 3rd, first Wednesday, I can tell you that. And is our schedule for Planning Commission. And that's who's here. No Bob, which of course is no surprise.
Chairperson Bailey? Bill, do you want to take a picture now? Let's do it now.
Okay. Where do you want, like we're all set, or you?
I think, let's see if we can do it from there. I can see if I violate permission, see if in the chair now.
Everybody smile now.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Let me see how well. I got everybody. I see. Let's see how that looks when I put it on a bigger screen. Thank you. Okay.
Send that to Mr. Mayor. Now we get serious. Call to order the Planning Commission meeting, City of Merriam, Kansas, for September the 3rd, 2025 at 7 p.m. Would you all raise, or all stand and say allegiance to the flag?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the recording secretary please take the roll?
Bill Bailey,
Here.
Nita Dillon,
Here.
Mitchell Flower,
Here.
Russ Harmon,
Here.
Kelsey Miller,
Here.
Sarah Limbacher,
Here.
Sean McConnell,
Here.
Daniel Molina,
Here.
Cole Stevens.
Here. Commission members received a copy of the minutes from August 6th, 2025 meeting. Are there any comments or corrections?
Were the meetings provided under a separate PDF this time? I didn't see them where they typically are in the first part of the report.
The minutes should have been in there. If they weren't, I can definitely go take a look.
Okay, mine goes to the agenda straight to the first plat.
Okay, is that on the paper copy, electronic copy?
It's on the electronic, it's on the paper as well.
Nobody else gets the minutes, then? Alright, we had snafu then, so I would suggest that if nobody had a chance to review minutes, that, you table the minutes until the next meeting. So, we will definitely, see what happened and get that in there. So, that would be my suggestion, is table the minutes for, the August 6 minutes.
Do I have
I'd make a motion to table the minutes of August 6, 2025 to our next planning commission meeting.
is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Yep. Business to be conducted this evening is PA 25-000003, Walser Genesis Edition Final Plat for property located at 7220 West Frontage Road. Mr. Dyer.
Good evening, Commissioners. Brian Dyer, Community Development Director, and this evening, Jasmine Bustos, our planner, will do the presentation, for this for you. So I will pass it on to Jasmine.
Thank you. Yes, Jasmine Bustos, planner. So the final plat that's on your agenda is associated with, last month's item, PUD 25-00004, changing use in PDP for a Genesis automobile dealership. That planning commission approved last month. The final plat is required as a condition of approval. If you look at the screen here, you might recall the property is located along West Frontage Road, in between I-35 and BSNF Railroad. As you can tell, the parcels here are various, so the point of the plat is to combine them into one lot. The lot in question would be 6.62 acres or 288,267 square feet. Are you also? Thank you. If you look at the plat here, the plat shows a number of existing utility easements for sanitary sewer, storm drainage, and natural gas. The plat dedicates a new 18-foot drainage easement in the southeast corner of the subject property, so right along here. This additional drainage easement encompasses the area between an existing stormwater outlet and inlet. Stormwater from West Frontage Road exits the outlet and inflows overland to the existing stormwater inlet. No additional right-of-way is being dedicated at the moment. Staff recommends that Planning Commission approve PA 25-00003 Walser Genesis Edition Final Plat, subject to the conditions listed below, and forwarding it to City Council for the acceptance of easements.
Staff be happy to answer any questions you all may have.
I have one. I'm just curious, and maybe this is just my ignorance, why this wasn't part of our last month's meeting.
I believe, Olson didn't have the plat ready at the moment. I think there was some confusion about when submitting, the plat, so.
Okay, thanks.
Does the applicant wish to make a presentation? Does the commission have any further questions for the applicant or anything of that nature? Any additional questions for staff? Do I have a motion?
I'll move that the planning commission approve with the condition listed in the staff report, that PA 25-000003, Walter Genesis Edition, final plat for property located at 7220 West Frontage Road, and forwarding it to the city council for the acceptance of the easements dedicated by the plat.
A second?
Second.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's passed. I do have a comment for record. Brian, I've noticed on a lot of plats coming in that the signature has been at the bottom of the seal, not across the seal with the date across it.
So,
That is a Kansas regulatory board, that it has to be across, close to the center of the seals.
so this will, appreciate that comment, and we'll, make sure that, that does happen, but just so you all know, this will not be the one that's ultimately filed. They will bring in a clean copy for all their signatures, and that point in time, we'll make sure that that's done. But yes, I appreciate the comment. Ones that are sealed, we will, do a better job of that.
Yes.
Good, so, and then I just let you know I have the next two items on here on the agenda, the CIP and the calendar as well, so. So if you would like, I can
Go
start
ahead.
on the CIP. So, before you have the capital improvements program, the CIP, that is the 5-year program, or the 5-year plan that the city has for, improvements to the city. This was part of the city, commission's budget approval that they did, last month. The city council, they have the responsibility of developing, budgeting, and prioritizing, the projects identified in the CIP. This planning commission, per state statute as well as city code, is responsible for finding that the CIP is in conformity with the city's adopted plan. This is also the opportunity where the planning commission takes time to maybe communicate to the city council things that they feel the CIP, the next CIP should address. A great example of it is in the past, a number of years ago, planning commission made comments about wanting and needing to see more sidewalk improvements done throughout the city. And the city council was already considering that, but with those comments, I think it further gave credence to the council's desire and goal to make that happen. So that's a great example of how the planning commission has communicated to the city council in regards to future CIPs. So with this CIP continues the city's commitment to the city's infrastructure by strengthening our streets through rehabilitation and preventative maintenance, continuing the Turkey Creek flood mitigation project, Parks and Rec master plan, as well as pedestrian and bicycle mobility initiatives. I went through and divided up the 2026 budget into 4 broad categories, just to give the planning commission a good idea of where all those different projects kind of fall within, because I know there are a lot of projects that we listed in there. So drainage improvements, that would be stormwater, local drainage improvements. The city's planning on in 2026 spending about $2 million on that. Pedestrian, bike, and rec improvements, about $665,000. Streets and streetlight improvements, that'll be about $4 million. And then downtown Turkey Creek, that'll be about $3.6 million. I think it's also important to remember that the city will be partnering with various entities, governmental entities, probably our biggest 2 partners, and this is Johnson County. They help us through the county assistance road system program, or CARS. So they help us with roads that are arterial roads, so they help with that. And then the county also helps us through the Stormwater Management Advisory Committee, or SMAC. That's the program that does a lot of our, helps us with our stormwater improvements. And then the other large entity that we're partnering with and continue to partner with is United States Army Corps of Engineers for the Upper Tree project. So, staff looked at the comprehensive plan, pulled out a couple of goals that we think really speaks directly to this. One goal is to provide quality, public services. Again, big key part of public services and one of the things that the city always stresses is having a great road network. We do a fantastic job of keeping our roads up and maintaining them. And then also transportation and safety and mobility. One of the things that a few years ago, the city council really wanted to work on was doing a better job of our bike and pedestrian mobility through a variety of means. And thankfully, we got a plan adopted, and as we go through and look at streets and do street improvements, we pull out the bike ped plan and look at what that plan recommends in regards to striping or other amenities for multimodal capabilities in the streets. So with that, staff does recommend that the planning commission find that the city of Merriam 5-year CIP is in conforming with the Merriam Comprehensive Plan 2014. Again, I didn't get that in your motion sheet, so I apologize. After the discussions, I'm sure there's going to be some discussion, that would be the motion. So with that, happy to answer your questions, or again, as I mentioned earlier, I know the planning commission probably at least has one, if not two, things they would like to discuss. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the commission.
Any commission have questions? Yes.
I would be painfully remiss if I didn't, in terms of the pedestrian flow and pedestrian movement, didn't continue to push forward.
Oh, Lord.
My strong belief in the walkway over Shawnee Mission Parkway. I know that's already in your radar, but I would like to continue to beat that drum. So, making sure that's a high priority in terms of long-term budgeting for this because we know that will be expensive, we do know that will take, a lot of effort. So long planning and continuing to fight for that fight, I think is critical.
I think, again, other commissioners have comments on that. A couple things. One, if there's other comments, please make those be known. We'll make sure those are reflected in the minutes. And then, as I mentioned in the past, the city is endeavoring to, and has undergone and is working on a major traffic analysis of that corridor, including pedestrians. But I think it is important that if there's consensus, that if the planning commission does have a consensus, that's something that they'd like to communicate to the city council. I think that would be a great statement to make. We'll make sure it gets in the minutes. So again, I don't know if there's other planning commissioners that have comments about that.
I do think it's important too with, just thinking about the comments that were made as we continue to develop the north side of Shawnee Mission Parkway, the traffic flow that's gonna be greatly increased, from the new, residents that are there, as well as the businesses that go in, to just make sure we are keeping that to the forefront of the importance for the flow of traffic and people in that area.
Yeah, and I'll second those sentiments too, and just put in a plug for the, another big barrier to the south, which is I-35, I believe on 67th. Just improving that accessibility via anything but a car. Great.
So I-35 as in getting something other than, an automobile across I-35?
Under in that case. We live on the east side, and personally, we love the Turkey Creek Trail, but it's always, a mixed bag in terms of biking that path.
I think there's been discussion, correct me, Brian, that the time sequencing of getting some study put together along with, city council, Mid-America Regional, all the people that would be involved is kind of coming together and syncing up, because we've got to get all those items on the table, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, and that is, again, one of the reasons why the city has undertaken corridor study of Shawnee Mission Parkway is to, have that study prepared, have it in place, so when the conversations with KDOT start again of local projects, and again, this is a 5-year plan, KDOT goes on a much longer, time horizon, we can, start having those conversations with KDOT and get them in the queue. I think back to, the discussion on the, pedestrian bridge over Shawnee Mission Parkway, I do think that is something that, again, the commission passes, shown a lot of support for. Is that something, is there consensus among the commissioners, they'd like to have that message relayed to the city council via the minutes, which is, and again, the commissioners read your minutes, so trust me, they ask questions about it, so is that something that is a consensus, that the planning commission would like to make a statement, that they would, want the city council to prioritize and look at adding a pedestrian bridge to this future CIP?
Does that need to be any type of motion?
I don't think so, I think it just needs to be consensus of not hitting, that's usually how we do it. Yeah, that's usually how it is, yeah, okay. We will, we'll get that in the next minutes.
So I don't need to pull all the commission and say, needs, like it.
And we'll also add in there, unless somebody commission doesn't want us add in there, comments about, again, looking at, connections, pedestrian, bike, multimodal connections across type roads.
Cause there's gonna be that project, just to get some schematic feel for it, and everything's probably going to take 2 to 3 years.
It will take some time for sure.
So the quicker we get something in one of us that makes some sense, better off with it. Yep.
I had one other small item. I'm not sure exactly how to word this, so I'll do my best. As we're doing the various capital improvements, especially the ones that relate to, a majority of those are done now by Public Works. And so, in the historical, as you know, it was previously done by, your group. And so, in my discussion based on the 61st Street project, and I think I've mentioned some of this to you just in passing, that there are little areas that can be and are being missed, and that's now confirmed. So areas in which an improvement happened long ago, and then, like for example, 61st Street, first improvement done was in 1994, then all the capillary streets were done in 2004, and in some cases, there were decisions made on some of those capillary streets that the first 200 feet or 150 feet were not addressed during those capillary improvements. So they remain unaddressed then when, like in this example of 61st Street. So looking for opportunities to mesh up those historical items so that they aren't missed. And I don't bring that up just because I'm a resident on 61st Street and it affects me, but I have had other individuals within my area ask me the same thing. Hey, why isn't this section that hasn't been addressed or touched in 30 years not being addressed within this paradigm? And they're small patches. I understand why they get missed, but if we can look for an opportunity on how to not miss those, I think it would benefit everyone.
Okay, you can, add that to your comments in minutes as well.
Any other comments from the commission?
And I would just follow one thing up, is I did have a conversation with the, Public Works Director in regards to this particular thing as well. So she's not clueless to this, and we had a wonderful conversation. It was, very, positive and helpful, I think.
Any other comments from the commission? Any other concerns? Calendar.
I know you and I had previously talked about, you mentioned,
Oh, you wanna bring that up now?
Well,
Yeah, that's
this,
under this.
you wanted to do it, yes.
Yep. So I had talked to Brian about, covered walkways at the community center. coming from the, garage to the community center, and then a little piece over to the library to protect the citizens that are coming in from rain. Also, we also get filtration in and out of different, needs of people. And, they can be in wheelchairs, they can be in whatever. And to be able to kind of protect them from just falling elements, not blowing, but falling. I had talked to Brian and said it would be nice if some consideration could be given to putting up an overhead protection. And he told me that had to be a capital project.
Most likely would be something, would be a capital project, yes.
Yeah. And that, just need to go from there and see if it gets any traction. So what's, thinking about that?
Yeah, my first question is obvious. Obviously, this is just in the noodling phase of this, I assume. So, you know, my first question is, what does the public, or I mean, the Parks and Rec director think about that, of course? Those kinds of things would be my first instincts. How does that affect Public Works and their maintenance of it and those kinds of things? I know from the art committee, we, you know, similar questions have to arise as well, so.
So I think, if the commission wants to have, I think that if the first step in this, if it was to go forward, or would be, the city council would say, hey, we'd like to at least initiate or take a look at putting those walkways in, not do a design, not do an engineering or anything like that, but have the conversation, you know, do the analysis of need, analysis of ability. I mean, is there actually the ability and the structure to put something like that? I don't know. So I think that would be a first step, more of a planning phase, consideration phase, to take an analysis and look at it. That would be a first step. Not go directly to engineering and building.
Yeah,
So no.
and I didn't assume that. I just, you know, my first thoughts coming out of just a conversation with our in regards to that. I mean, it's, you know, I've walked there and I have had that thought before, not for my personal self, but for others, you know, walking to and from ice. You know, that does make it easier for maintenance. As a public art committee member, I do also think about that in terms of, you know, not affecting the amount of effort that's been put into beautification, that is done in a way that works with the existing sculptures and artwork that are around that community center as well as the library. I think those would be part of that planning and discussion phase, et cetera, et cetera. But in general terms, I think it's a good idea. I wouldn't be against it. I think it would be interesting to poll, if the, Parks and Rec department had something in which they can poll people when they're coming to and from in that process as
So,
well, or things along that line.
again, I would, not speaking and not getting too, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I would think that could potentially be part of that whole, thought process of doing exactly that.
Any other thoughts?
I'd be curious too, just with the design of the drop off on the library side, if at some point during design, just how it is inviting to have people unload and unload there, if there is at one point a shade structure envisioned there to protect people who are waiting for their cars. I'd be curious to see if there's anything previously in the design for that. I could be, used for some inspiration to see what they thought would look nice in that area.
Any other comment?
My first thought was, it's quite a trek, which I think is your point, you know, it's both the challenge and sort of the need for some sort of assistance, and maybe as like a stopgap solution or something along those lines, there could be some collaboration with the, recreation center to have folks available to assist in the meantime, like some sort of, I don't know, hotline in the garage or something that you could call if you are in a wheelchair, you need someone to come out, kind of help you through, just to make sure you get there safely.
That was kind of where my brain was going to, other options for entering those buildings. Potentially the backside of, parking in a different desk for checking in or something, if that's a way, because I do know that I have heard, people say that it's a long trek from the garage to the entrance of the community center specifically. The libraries maybe not so far, but, that is something I have heard of, so having a covered walkway or alternative entrance maybe, how do we do that? That may have just taken us into a whole new.
No, I think, again, these are, as I've said before, council members read the minutes, and I think, definitely can put these comments in the minutes as well, and see, again, as a great example, as I always bring up the sidewalk conversation, could spur some additional conversation at that level, so, I think that's good feedback, and certainly we'll get that in the minutes, so if there isn't any other comments, we do need a motion. So, a motion to, find that the, City of Merriam Capital Improvement Program is in conformity with the Merriam Comprehensive Plan 24. Unless, again, not wanting to end the conversation, but that, that would be the next step.
So moved.
Second that.
You worded it.
And that's fine, I will get it in there, thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
One discussion point, that doesn't include the fact of the items that we added to the minutes to be brought up to them, that motion.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yep. So the next item we have is going to be your annual calendar. So this is going to be the calendar for. There we go. So this is your calendar for 2026. This one's a little bit more straightforward than last year's, where we had lots of holidays messing with the calendar. Really, the 3 big things on this. Again, as I will just in general. So again, in general, submittal dates are the first Wednesday of each month for the next following month's planning commission meeting. So, for example, for the January 7th meeting, the submittal date is December 3rd. So that's how we build these calendars. The 3 things to note on this is that Memorial Day means that the May planning commission items won't go to the city council until June. Your items go to the city council typically at their second meeting of the same month. So this plat, for example, the plat you did today, this evening, will go to the last meeting in this month, last meeting in September, the city council. However, in May, because of Memorial Day, there will not be a second council meeting, so the May items will go to the first meeting in June, and then in December, there will not be a second December meeting because of the Christmas holiday, and so those items then go to the first meeting in January, and then, as we've done for the past number of years, we usually don't schedule a meeting in July simply because July 4th holiday seems to always kind of be right around that Wednesday, and it just makes everybody a lot less nervous of trying to reach a quorum in that week. So I will say, as I always say each year, is that if there is a need for a meeting in July, you all can always call a special meeting. So that has not been the case lately. So that is the proposed calendar for next year. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
None of them interfere with my birthday, so.
Any questions, commission? Do I have a motion? It's not a hard one.
I motion to approve the planning meeting, dates.
Okay.
Second.
And a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay? It's done.
just give you a rundown of the development activity. Really, we've had a very short span since our last meeting, so I don't think there's any big news and big developments other than the marketplace. Trader Joe's continues to go on schedule. They have starting to clear the area over there, starting to get ready to do footings and foundations. Also, the Shell station, as you can see, they've done tanks, pulled the tanks out of that. They being the developer, the property owner, are waiting to hear back from Kansas Department of Health and Environment in regards to testing soil testing results, to just tell them what's the next step in remediation on that. That's all based upon what.
Is that
they
phase
find.
1 or phase 2, or do you know environmental study?
I don't think those are either. I think those are,
Okay.
so, again, not to get too much into it, but the tank remediation, it's really gonna be a two-step process. That has been a gas station since the 50s, so there's many different levels of stuff going on over there. The current tanks got pulled out, the property owner is responsible for that remediation. And then the longer term remediation, because those tanks are not, I think those tanks are probably from the 90s. The longer term remediation, that will be the second step. That is done by the trust fund. So Kansas Department of Health and Environment has a trust fund that takes care of those kind of situations. So that will be the next step over there. So, again, I know things have been sitting up there for a while, but it's simply KDHE getting their testing back to tell what's the next direction. So nothing up there has been unexpected. So that's why it's like that. No, marketplace seems to be going along fine and going on to schedule. So happy to answer any questions that anybody may have about any project.
7-Eleven in Merriam.
Sure. So that is staff has been working very diligently to find the right people to make sure that they get that site up to meeting code from maintenance code standpoint, so cutting grass, getting to seasons, things like that. So we have made that contact. Once we've got the right person, they've been very good with working with us to try to get that up to code as much as possible. Beyond that, they have not provided us, they being several, have not provided us with any definitive plans of what they're going to do.
What about the sentiment?
Uh, so,
Cinema?
I was just asking you guys, tell me some of the last construction there. So, they had, as you all may or may not know, they had redone half of their, theaters to the new style. Then they had kind of put, doing the other half on hold, because they had investigated the idea of maybe doing it into more of a family fun center, like main event to add in there. They worked through that process. They came to you all for revised plans. They did not go forward with that process, with that. So what they decided to do was to revamp the other half of the movie theater. So I know they have pulled permits for that. I don't know if they've completed all that yet. I can ask the building official if he's done finals for that, but I do not know if they've finished that yet or not.
The Mercedes-Benz dealership off of 35, it looked like they had the cars pulled from the dealership. Do you know if they're doing interior improvements right now?
I'm unaware of any interior improvements. I'm sorry.
The older one,
The
not the
old
new
one,
one.
sorry,
Yes.
sorry. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are doing exactly that. They are, refurbishing that. It's gonna be essentially twofold. So we're talking about the original Mercedes-Benz dealership, the one you see from I-35 that sits on the hill. So they are going to do, they're turning that into, a pre-owned vehicle, showroom, and also I believe it will be, kind of act as a museum or a facility to hold some of the more interesting cars that are in the ownership's collection there. So it comes for two purposes, but yes, yes, they are doing, refurnishing on the inside. Yep.
Brian, the price jumper that closed on 75th in Metcalf, I know it's outside city limits, but has there been any chatter about whether or not that could increase demand for the marketplace, or is that likely to be replaced?
No, there have not been any conversations about how that will affect the demand for the Trader Joe's, at least not that I have.
I have a question for you, Brian. Newly acquired or recently acquired, properties, just, I guess that would be north of the city market, those buildings there, what's the plans on that? Or is it,
So, yeah, so pretty much everything, from city, from a farmer's market up to, hardware store, the city now owns. They will be demoed, and we are working on, that process to get that demolition done, so those rooms will all be done.
Does that include the hardware store or?
No, that does not.
Yeah,
It does
it's
not.
gonna be shut.
That does not include the others.
Any updates from the court?
No. Other than I have lots of meetings with them. We're still, they still are shooting for first part of next year, so.
I think that there's other areas there. Think of any other areas in the city that are either under construction, ready to go under construction, or somebody wants to construct something?
Just noticed that the, building for the new Hyundai, or the Genesis, yeah, that one's looking like it's coming down nicely.
I did forget to mention that, yeah, they have started in one now.
Timeline on Trader Joe's and everything?
Yeah, that's still looking for, before Thanksgiving of next year. Generally speaking. Whatever, sometime between now and end of 2026.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still on schedule.
What about the phase 2 portion, are they on schedule?
Yep, they are, so they, are looking to, they're right now in just an initial phases, they still are, everything's lined up for them to start work on there. As soon as the remediation stuff is completed with the show.
When's Coffee House come down?
Don't know. But, don't know, not heard about that lately, obviously it will come down, but they have not provided us with the building permit, application yet for that, so I'm guessing they're waiting for disconnect still.
What about all the telecom lines on the south side of Johnny Vision?
Last I knew, it was supposed to be done this month, but we'll see.
They're working on it.
Yes, they are, they're really, had a lot of lane drops today, while they get conduit in the ground.
Okay.
That's all I got, other than, again, I would apologize for the meeting minutes. I'll go back and see what happened, and, hopefully, tomorrow I'll get those posted and get those emailed out to you all, and then we will pick them up on the next meeting. So, apologies for that.
And you'll send the picture.
Well, I can send it.
Well, do I have a motion for adjournment?
make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Like for this guy, I can't remember what was going on, what's going on for you, like, it doesn't really matter.
What do you think? Exciting?
Two systems here and so close to that one, so I don't
See ya.
Yeah.
Were you here for a school project or what? Yeah, awesome, yeah. Cool, I figured.
I wanted to get it done, cause I heard that later in the semester, council meetings start as students.
Oh, that's never happened.
Hey, but we got a student visitor for
Yeah.
lunch. Nice, I'm glad you came.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes they're more exciting than others, this one was pretty nice.
Look at the mention of the other meeting.
Thank you for noticing the minutes we're missing.
Oh, that was Sarah.
Oh,
That was all
okay.
Sarah, yep.
Yeah.
It's one of those when you scan through things, you're like, did they scan too fast? Go back.
I've seen the format change a couple times with city council agendas over the years. And
Maybe
It's
there's
a
the
bit vague,
bottom,
is
the
it?
top,
Yeah. When are they gonna add the Sean McConnell Bridge over Shawnee Mission question to the agenda? It should be like
Just like a
number,
standing-
number 7 on
right.
the agenda.
Right.
See you, sir.
See ya?
See you next time.
See ya?
Bye.
Thanks for noticing the missing minutes.
Oh, anytime. I was like, I don't think I'm going crazy, not yet. Have a good one.
You too. And that's the planning commission for September 2025.